We're going to settle this dispute once and for all. There's always this big question about which is the better fried chicken or the best fried chicken. And everybody's talking about Jollibee or Popeyes or Raising Cane's or what's that other one? Howlin' Race. Well, we're gonna have to settle the dispute tonight because I'm sick and tired of people arguing about this. So we're just gonna settle it, but we're only gonna do two. We're gonna settle the dispute between Chicken Joy, Jollibee Chicken Joy, and Popeye's Chicken, because these are the two fried chickens that are kind of similar in league, right? You can't really compare these with Howlin' Race because Howlin' Race is a totally different league on its own. Not saying that it's good or bad. It's a totally different league. Jollibee and Popeyes have sort of a similar offerings. So we're just gonna do that, right? And I will decide, since we're gonna do it side by side. I like both Popeyes and Jollibee for their own reasons, specific reasons. But tonight, we're gonna do a side by side, sort of a bake off between Chicken Joy and Jollibee Chicken Joy and Popeyes. Like I said, the offering is similar, right? So Jollibee comes with rice, and so does Popeyes, right? So we're gonna look and we're gonna see, and we're gonna I like them both, but we're gonna go over the differences of each one on camera. Okay, so let's start with the look, right? They look very similar. Popeyes is a little darker than Jollibee. Jollibee looks a little paler, but in terms of the breading, I think Jollibee has a thicker, crunchier breading, but we'll see. Okay, in terms of the smell, Jollibee smells like it's just straight up fried chicken, whereas Popeyes has a Cajun seasoning smell. So it's more southern, really Louisiana. If you've ever been to Louisiana, had a southern style fried chicken, this is more familiar, right? Versus the smell of Jollibee is straight up fried chicken. Of course, no one will disclose what's in the spice mix or whatever. It's a secret, but I don't really care. We're just gonna do a taste test. Now, before we go over like what's good, I kind of screwed up on both of them because I had to drive 10 miles to Jollibee to get the Chicken Joy. And there's a long line, a long wait to get the fried chicken. So what I didn't do is check the order. And I got home and there's no gravy, which sucks. Because how do you eat Chicken Joy without gravy? Now, when I went on the way back, there's Popeyes, and that's why I stopped by Popeyes as well. Popeyes gave me the gravy, but oh, here it is. Popeyes gave me the gravy, but they missed the Cajun fries, which I like about Popeyes too. It's something I'm gonna snack on later. So both of them suck tonight, but mostly me because I should have checked. But I'm in a hurry, I'm hungry, so I didn't have time to open the bags, gave everyone the benefit of the doubt that everything's there. So lesson learned for me, especially during the holidays, everyone's in a rush. Check the contents of the bag, make sure all your orders there. Anyway, it's not a battle of gravy anyway, so we're going to just start with the fried chicken. Um, let's start with Jollibee. Right. So with Jollibee, let's and since it was a 10-mile trip, as soon as I got home, I popped this in the air fryer real quick, so it's still hot, right? So I didn't want cold, steamed up fried chicken. So disclaimer: this went to the air fryer, a preheated air fryer for about 2 minutes. So this is Jollibee. What I love about Jollibee is that it's not super on the super crunchy side, but the flavor on the breading is hits the spot all the time. It's not spicy. It's not, there's not a whole lot of, you don't, it's hard to explain, but I'm going to try. You don't get a whole lot of spices, but there's more sweetness to it. It's more sweet and savory. That's Jollibee. Of course, now the rice is boring because there's no gravy, but whatever. I still love it. Let's do a couple more bites. And this is the breast piece. Is it breast? I think so. Can't tell. It just has that fried, really deep fried goodness. Not too greasy where it's overwhelming and too oily. It's not. But compared to other fried chicken, this is more on the not sweet, really. It's not sweet, but it's not salty, it's not spicy, not spicy heat like spicy spices. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's just hits home. That's Jollibee Chicken Joy to me. The only thing about Jollibee is that I guess later on the evening you can taste, I don't know how often they change the oil on their fryer. There's that oil, not too bad, but there's that oil taste. It's not oily, but you know it's deep fried. Not a showstopper or not a deal breaker for me. Now, Popeyes on the other hand, it's its own thing. This is also went to the air fryer for a couple minutes, and this is the no, I think this is the thigh piece. So, in terms of flavor, Popeyes has more flavor, more intense flavor when you bite to it. The Cajun spices just really sinks. This is without gravy. I don't think I would even need gravy right now. And I usually order this with Cajun rice. Their Popeye's Cajun rice is just bomb. Now, here's the thing. The intense flavor of the fried chicken plus the intense flavor of the Cajun rice, it gets to be a little too much for me. So, what we'll do is we'll try it with just the plain rice from Jollibee. The flavor, the spices is perfect. So I think the plain rice will just tame it down a little bit. I think that's perfect. I love the Cajun rice, but it tends to overpower the flavor of the fried chicken. So I'm guessing it's not intended to be eaten like how, you know, how Filipinos, you gotta have like a small piece of meat or small piece of whatever, and then like a whole bowl of rice, because that's how we ate back home. So that's what we're used to. So I guess, given that Popeyes is originally from the U.S., from Louisiana, maybe you're supposed to take a bite of fried chicken and maybe just a little bit of rice, which, as a Filipino, doesn't work that way. Okay. Now I'm going to try to have a bite of the Jollibee chicken and then follow it up with the Cajun rice. It's so good. This makes me so happy. Most of you know that I love food. I love eating. I love flavor. And when you ask me what's my favorite food, I always say I don't have any favorite food, because I don't. I eat everything. I enjoy everything. However, if you ask me if I had a choice, what would be my last meal? It would be fried chicken, hands down, because I love fried chicken. Whether it's Popeyes or Jollibee, hey, if it's my last meal, I will have both at the same time with white rice, kind of like what we're doing right now, because this is pretty awesome. All right, so we're gonna do this again, because let's enjoy the flavor of, oh, so this is a Popeyes with plain rice. So good. That's really good. I think it balances it out. Popeyes with Cajun rice, too strong. Jollibee with plain rice without the gravy, it's just a little bit boring. But if you swap the chicken, I think it sings. It really sings. Now let's try it. The Jollibee chicken, the Chicken Joy, plain rice, and Popeyes gravy. Let's see how that works. Okay. Chicken Joy, Popeyes gravy. That works too. The thing about Popeyes gravy is very, not very. It is on a smoky side. So there's smoke, there's spices, Cajun, compared to the Jollibee gravy, which is just sweet and not too creamy, but it's just sweet and fatty. That's the Jollibee gravy. So imagine Popeyes gravy, Popeyes fried chicken, and the Cajun rice. The flavor is just, for me at least, it's too much. Too Cajun-y. Not complaining, I'm still gonna eat it. But since we're comparing it with Jollibee, you know. So good. Okay, let's do a couple more. The key is air frying it as soon as you get home. If you have an air fryer, use it. If you don't, you should. If you like fried chicken, you should have an air fryer, because by the time you get home, the steam and the travel, it makes it soggy. The air fryer brings it back to life. Mm. Mm. So now, in terms of the juiciness of, or the how tender, how juicy the meat is, we just got. I think I got both. Yeah, these are both thighs, which is on the fatty side, dark meat. So it's really not a good gauge, but I guess if you get a bigger order of Popeyes, you get the breast and a mixture of everything else. I've never had breast or chicken breast from Jollibee. So I don't know if that even exists or not. It's usually thigh and legs or drumsticks. But okay. See this right here? See how crunchy that looks? It doesn't just look crunchy, it's really, let's see. Mm. I'm happy. This is the life. Fried chicken on a cold night, crispy, pineapple juice. So I know what you're waiting for. What's the verdict? It's really hard, guys. It's tough. Like I said, in Popeyes, the chicken has more flavor, more spices, but it gets overwhelming if I have Cajun fries with it or Cajun rice with it. I'm gonna have to tame it down with just the plain rice. Uh, I mean, I love Jollibee, but flavor-wise, Popeyes has more flavor. Um, because actually, it may be a good thing that they forgot the gravy, because if I kind of thought Jollibee would win, but if I had the Jollibee gravy, it probably would. But given the fact that I didn't have gravy, if it's just the chicken and the rice, it's not the same as it's not as good with just Popeyes and rice. Does it make sense? So I guess what the point that we're trying to make here is that without the gravy, Jollibee Jollibee doesn't win. It's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not, doesn't compare with the flavors of Popeyes. So I guess it relies so much on the gravy for it to be a 9, right? And if you have the gravy, it's a 7. Or if you don't have the gravy, it's a 7. And even with Popeyes without the gravy, is an 8. Does that make sense? I hope it does. But then again, this is subjective. This is based on my palate. Your palate is different. The person next to you has a different palate. So this is solely based on my own opinion. But yeah, Jollibee without gravy is a 7. Popeyes is an 8. Really close. But if you just had to pick a winner, I'd go with Popeyes. But then again, if I was on death row and I get my last meal, I would be picking both Popeyes and Jollibee. I hope the warden will be resourceful enough to find both Jollibee and Popeyes at the same time together. Another good thing about Jollibee and Popeyes, at least here in California, they are far and few in between, and they're kind of similar. There may be more Popeyes than Jollibee, but in terms of like distance and the amount of effort that you need to do to get either one, it's about the same. And they both serve rice, and there are other things. So there you go. Popeyes wins for tonight. Okay, so we'll see if there's a rebuttal from Jollibee fans, and if you don't think that this fried chicken off is fair, let me know in the comments. And I'm open to. This is open for debate. I mean, this is fried chicken. This is food, so I think my palate is sophisticated enough to be able to tell the difference between Jollibee and Popeyes. So if you're on the fence, if you're being bullied because you like Jollibee and Popeyes, it doesn't matter. Both of them are really good. One is just better than the other when the other doesn't have gravy. So that's it. And yeah, and then maybe maybe we'll do a spaghetti review. Yeah, I got Jollibee spaghetti again, second time in 2 weeks, but who cares? I love Jollibee. All right, that's it. And let me know what you think. If you disagree or you agree, we can always agree to disagree, but I would love to hear your argument between Jollibee and Popeyes. So as you compose yourself, I will finish this food and I'll catch you on the next video. Ciao!